Welcome to Eternal Manna, the daily devotional broadcast of Grace Gospel Church. We are looking at Psalm 36. And in the first four verses, David is looking around and he sees the depravity of man and he describes it in vivid detail. Now, in verse 5, his focus is going to shift. He has looked too long at the depravity of man and he's discouraged. He's depressed. And now he's going to focus on the Lord. He's going to look up. David loved to look up. And David on another occasion said, "The heavens declare the glory of God and the firmament shows his handiwork." So David is looking up, and look what he says in verse 5. "Your love, Lord, reaches to the heavens, your faithfulness to the skies." David is going to focus on the love of God and the faithfulness of God. He saw around him a polluted world. He saw himself in great danger. He saw how God was dishonored by the transgressions of man. But now he wants to focus on God's love that reaches to the heavens, and he wants to focus on God's faithfulness that reaches to the skies. And he also talks about two other characteristics of God. In verse 6, he talks about the righteousness of God, which is like the highest mountains, and his justice like the great deep. So the glory of God is being described in four attributes: the love of God, the faithfulness of God, the righteousness of God, and the justice of God. David can only describe the attributes of God with the biggest things that he can think of: the heavens, the clouds that fill the sky, the great mountains, and the great deep of the sea. And David is saying God's love is unfathomable, but God's love can be experienced. God's faithfulness has no limits. It has no boundaries. And aren't we glad for that? And that is why we love to say with the prophet, "Great is thy faithfulness." What a faithful God he is. And then God's righteousness, God's absolute purity, moral purity, is like the highest mountains. They cannot be scaled. And then God's justice is like the great deep. God is the God of judgment and justice. He knows all the facts, and he's going to act accordingly. And so today, as you and I go through life, we are going to see the depravity of man expressed in different ways. But also let's learn to look up and see beyond the blue sky to the love of God, the faithfulness of God, the righteousness of God, and the justice of God. And let's be encouraged by the glory of God. And let the glory of God be the glow on our faces, and let it light up our path as we choose to walk in his way. May the Lord grant you a very wonderful, blessed day today. Amen.
For more videos like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Grace Gospel English Church Toronto. Thank you.